Superb Halo here with another exotic review, and today we're going to be looking at the Synthoceps. Hope I said that correctly for you guys out there. But anyway, so what is the Synthoceps and how do you get them? Where do you get them? Who are they for? Obviously, these are for the Titan. They're an exotic. You can get them from any exotic engram, any drop, or from Xur if he sells them. So pretty much what this exotic does is it increases melee lunge range and improves like melee damage when surrounded pretty much. So melee lunge range, what is that? How is it effective? What's the purpose of that? Well, we all know from Destiny 1, the Titans used to have the baby dinosaur arms that couldn't really reach that far. Pretty much their range with melee sucked as opposed to all the other subclasses. Now, I did a little testing with this stuff, okay? I did a lot of testing with these exotics, and you'll see in the clip. But I will say one thing. These don't make you like the Warlock from D1. That Stormcaller Warlock range, it's not crazy like that, but you'll see what I mean. It is, like effective in a certain way, in a certain extent. Alright, so here we go. Time to put these bad boys into action. So right now, I'm just on Earth, just roaming. I'm going to show you exactly what's going on. So right there, you guys see the lunge. I'm trying to see as farthest away I can get this. So that's a pretty far lunge right there. A pretty far lunge. And now I'm surrounded right now. If you guys can see the damage output with these gauntlets, you have to be surrounded by at least 3 or more enemies in order to do a lot of damage, like maximize your damage with them. I found out it doesn't really work with 2 enemies, it's 3 or more, and you'll see further. But the lunge is there. You definitely feel that lunge effect. That's one thing I found rather interesting with these exotics. And what I mean by the lunge effect, if you guys have ever played Halo, when you had the energy sword, there was a little bit of a lunge effect with that, where it kind of locked onto a target and your guy just went, charging towards them with the sword. That's the same effect with these exotic gauntlets right here. That's the same effect that I feel with them. Alright, so right here, there's a lot of enemies, and this is a great spot to like test these out. The base damage that they do is the base damage of without wearing these exotics. So I think I get surrounded here. I'm doing okay damage, but as more enemies start to spawn in, now 530, that was 530 damage output, another 530 damage output, 530. So yeah, so the damage increases when you're surrounded. Again, 3 or more enemies and your melee does significantly more damage than your base melee. See right there, I'm getting some good damage output with that. Alright, so let's compare some basic gauntlets. Let's see how far the Titan can melee compared to the Synthoceps. Now here's where things got a little complicated, guys. I don't know what it was, but I felt as if like it just, I don't know how to describe this. It just felt as if like there wasn't a real big difference, but as for lunge, you can feel the lunge effect with these things. So for an example, the distance you have to be in order to get that melee lunge is at least 24 inches, an extra 2 feet. So you can just be 2 feet further away from your average melee. Okay, and that's the melee right there. It's still the same base damage. You don't have any increased damage once you're surrounded wearing like the basic standard gauntlets, not these exotic gauntlets. So the thing is, like right here, I was just trying to give an example. So I put these back on to see if, that was an appropriate distance. And still, not really. So right here is a prime example of how far you can melee with these things. And it's a solid distance. Again, a foot or 2 closer with your standard primary gauntlets, and you would be able to get that melee. Now, as opposed to PvP, honestly, it doesn't really matter because at the same time, people are usually in range within melee distance, so the lunge doesn't really help. But I figured there were some encounters that someone was running away, and I actually meleeed, and my guy lunged towards that person and ended up getting that kill. So it does have that melee lunge effect, and I keep stressing that to you guys because it does work. It's not one of those things that's gimmicky and you know, doesn't work, but this one actually really works. Alright, so overall, my honest review about the Synthoceps. So the first things first, there's a little bit of a difference between when you have these versus not using them. You get to melee a little bit further. You know how Bungie does their stuff. Just an extra foot or two further away in order to get that melee lunge. Another thing that's really beneficial about these exotics is the fact that you do get increased damage when being surrounded. Your melee definitely increases damage, so if you're getting mobbed and swarmed by adds, you're able to just blast them away and do damage. Unfortunately, these things don't have any explosive type of explosive pyro type effect to them where you can just, you know, destroy multiple enemies, but no. So they do increase damage, so that's one benefit. PvP, you know, they're very situational, and it really depends on your playstyle if you don't really rely on an exotic to help you with a specific build that you're trying to, you know, a specific PvP build. But as for PvE, they're really beneficial and they do work, especially when getting mobbed or you're getting swarmed from up close. So overall, I give the Synthoceps a solid
7.5 out of 10.
So I hope you guys enjoy this clip I put together on the Synthoceps. Please like, subscribe to this channel, and I'll be bringing you more content. Superb Halo out.